On April the 3rd, 1988, the inaugural World Superbike race was held on a brisk day at Donington Park. It would be the birth of a new era of not only racing motorcycles, but arguably the reason why we have the bikes we do today. If you went into a bedroom of a typical teenager of the 1980s, there'd more than likely be a poster of homologated Exotica on the wall. Yeah, amongst other things. But one manufacturer in particular got the formula right from the off.
Seconds in front of Marco Lucanelli, then a big gap to Stefan Mertens.
Here's the leader, Merkel. Oh, how well he might punch the air. That's a fantastic first leg victory, and he knows that's enough. He's got the first World Championship in the bag.
Fast forward to today, and the VFR RC30 has become a collector's dream. Its limited production numbers and its timeless appeal has made it one of the most sought-after motorcycles in the world. Join us as we take a closer look at this V4 legend.
Right, so this is mint. Look at it, it's beautiful. VFR 750 R RC30, the UK bike. Yeah, because it's got the right clocks on it. 800 miles.
Yeah. Wow.
This is a special
Get many of them, do you, that long?
No, you don't, do you? I mean, so this came out, what, 1987?
Yep.
In Tokyo, 88, the European one came out. Most of them raced. So very few left in this condition with original bodywork, uncut rear, number plate, uncut exhaust, 4 into 2 into 1, absolutely stunning, isn't it? Power, Japanese one. Now this looks fast, doesn't it? Won a load of races, these did. How many horsepower for a Jap one?
It was low, wasn't it?
It was low. What do you reckon?
80.
75 horsepower. Yeah. I mean,
Mental.
wouldn't pull the skin off a rice pudding, would it? The European one's a bit more, 100.
So that was just because they were restricted, right?
They were restricted, yeah. But yeah, 118, 120 horsepower for the European ones. These are the bikes that revolutionised World Superbikes, weren't they? Absolutely revolutionised. Won the first two. They made it straight out the crate. Won the first two World Superbikes. Fred Merkel, yeah. Fred Merkel did that on it, didn't he? Yeah. And it's dripping with details. Yeah. It's got quick release front wheel. The little clamps at the bottom of the fork.
It was designed to go racing.
It was designed to go racing, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So was the single swing arm design just for these originally? Or was this the first bike to have them?
Alf patented that.
The Pro Arm.
The Pro Arm, yeah. And then licensed it to Honda or sold it or whatever they did with Honda and made that work. So.
Fast wheel changes and stuff. That's why I made it so successful at Suzuka 8 Hour and Isle of Man TT.
Yeah, just built for endurance racing, weren't they?
Yeah.
Well, racing in general. Keith, come and have a look at this. This is basically just a bigger version of our NC30, isn't it? Everything about it.
It's pretty much the same.
Shock linkage, exhaust, heat shields, single-sided, even just goes to prove what a great little bike the NC30 is. Because it's just
close.
Sort of
it's very
miniature
close,
version. It's very close. Obviously, it hasn't got the magnesium bits and the titanium bits that this has got. And this has got some pedigree. By God, has it got some pedigree. I love the tank. There's a bit of shape on the tank there. Remember when the RS250s, the NX5s and the RXAs, the tanks came out over the frame a little bit, didn't they? They were just bulbous. But this had a 6-speed close ratio box in. Really tall first gear. What did it do in first now? It's something mad,
this was about 82 mile an hour in first gear.
82.
Yeah.
So you can
tall first gear.
So you can break the speed limit. In
the
first
UK,
gear in the UK, yeah, which is just phenomenal. But how old were you when this was? In 1987, 88. This one was born.
Same year as me.
Oh God.
You were born in
87.
I could be his dad.
You probably are his dad. Yeah.
No, I've seen his mum.
Oh, wow. So going back to the question, how old were you when this was built then?
I was just leaving school when this came out.
Really, yeah.
Can you imagine that?
So did these have shower forks then?
Shower front and rear, weren't they? Yeah, and I think they were adjustable. Front and rear. They've got a reservoir underneath the back, same as on the little NC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So how fast then? What do you reckon? One of these, because it looks fast, doesn't it? How fast in road trim? One of these. Ant, you have a guess. He knows.
140.
No, a bit more.
He's not far off there.
148, 150 mile an hour. So, but in today's standards, it's dog slow, isn't it? But you know, beautiful. I'd have this over any modern day 600,000.
So in a race trim,
yep.
Who's the most famous person that's rode one of these?
Oh man, I mean, where do you start? It's just, I think everyone, it's sort of...
Joey Dunlop.
Joey Dunlop's probably
that'll do it.
Man,
it's quite famous, isn't
That'll
it?
do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Foggy rode one as well.
Foggy,
really.
ran the TT.
Yeah. Apparently, I saw this on a video just as it was coming out, but Foggy was so excited to have his RC30 that the day that they got released was on the same day as his wedding day. So they delivered the bike to the church and he had his wedding photos on the RC30.
That's the kind of wife you need. Isn't it?
I don't know why.
I'll say mine's not any good by any stretch, you know what I mean? But
yeah. But you also like see Steve Islop as well. He had good success on it. Philip McCallum.
I mean, these started World Superbikes, didn't they?
Yeah, so as we mentioned.
So you're talking late 80s, very early 90s.
Yeah, they won the first. When did WSB start?
So, 1988 was the first round at Donington Park.
Yeah.
Now, it was won, that round was won by Davide Tedozzi on a Bimota. Yeah. But Joey Dunlop come third.
Wow.
On it. But
and that was in the days when, I suppose who's doing that now, any Hickman, you can race Superbikes and TT, but very
But
rare.
that championship was won by...
Fred Merkel.
Fred Merkel, yeah.
Yeah.
It
just proved how...
They got the formula right, didn't they?
Oh, they did. Proved how good it was, you know. And it's timeless, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's absolutely, you know. And then, I guess, Ducati sort of followed the single-sided swinging arm route and, you know. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And the V4 motor was unique back then, wasn't it? Then I guess...
Big bang crank in this as well, similar to what Doohan's running in that NSR 500 in the mid-90s. So, it's, same sort of setup, but yeah. You know.
It is a proper investment bike, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So to buy one of these now, this condition, what are you looking at?
Don't ask us about prices, mate. Have you seen our other videos?
Actually, shall I put a price
Yeah,
on it?
you tell us, mate.
I reckon that, about 50k, 60k for this one. Nice condition ones, medium mileage.
I mean, this is low mileage, just 800 miles.
That comes with its own problems though then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it'll be... You probably won't just turn key and start, even though it's a Honda. You know, if it's been sat there for donkeys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say about
50, 60k. Yeah, definitely. You wouldn't
And
mind
it's
one
definitely
of them.
worth more than an RG 500.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that was a real pleasure having a little look around this. Absolutely stunning. Love it. Wish I'd had one as a poster on the wall. Now we need to head down south and have a look at some full-on racing examples. We come to see Ian, and he's going to talk us through how to get from that standard road-going RC30 that we were just looking at to a full-on endurance race bike. And believe me, they're miles apart, absolutely miles apart. So come and take a look. You buy an RC30.
Yep.
From Honda in 1987, 88, when
88,
something like that. You get one of them, how do you turn it into one of these?
Yeah.
So, you know.
So the standard road bike, you got a kit manual, so you had a selection of parts that you could buy. So there was a power up kit, so the pistons, the gudgeon pins were 0.2 of a millimetre lower. So it raised the compression.
Okay.
So you could strip the engine down, just change the pistons and do nothing else. And you automatically had higher compression, more horsepower. Yeah. There were also cams available if you wanted to put high lift cams in. Carburettor kits, there were various stages. So the standard CV carbs, you could get two different versions of the slides and the diaphragms and the springs. so they opened quick, you know, more responsibly.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and the TTF1 carbs had a 1 mil larger diameter as well.
Okay.
So there were various options on the CV carbs.
Yeah.
And then you could get the flat slide, the K and flat slide carbs as well as an option.
Is that what this? What ones have these got on?
Yeah, well these are the CRs. So they're K and CRs.
Fantastic.
There was I saw on a Nick Jeffries bike. There was one. I saw a video where they took the tank off that, and they were like saying there was only 10 of these carburetors.
Magnesium ones, yeah.
Were
I mean they were something like £8,000 back in 1990 just for the car. Or something ridiculous. I don't even know the numbers, but they were. You know, we used to get magnesium carbs from HRC delivered to the meetings for some of our bikes. And the little Japanese guy would bring us a set of carbs.
Yeah.
And at the end of the race, he'd be there waiting for them back again.
They
were that valuable that they wouldn't even let them out of their sight.
Wow. Right. Okay.
But we don't have any of those.
No, not £8 grand a pop back there. No.
Yeah, I mean, God knows what.
Alter for inflation now. They'd be. Oh, wow.
But and you could get, you know, there was a kit ignition box which gave more revs.
Yeah.
And then all the chassis upgrades. As well as a deep sump, you can have a magnesium deep sump, a magnesium clutch cover.
Yeah.
Because the original RC30 hasn't got a sight glass, it's only got a dipstick.
Oh, okay.
So the kit cover has a window.
Oh yeah.
And no dipstick.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So
and then the deep sump just for more
the deep
oil,
sump
just for helping cooling,
including the pickup and a baffle plate.
Yeah.
That just gave more oil capacity.
Yeah.
So the oil would cool down quicker. Plus, if it used any, it wasn't critical. You know, you weren't going to run out. So
they were prone to using a little bit of.
They could use a bit of oil. They've only got one compression ring, so they tend to have a lot of crankcase compression. And the other part of the kit was all the, the breathing with the, the bottle and air breather systems. Very complicated on them.
So was this HRC designed and then copied, or
this particular one is not HRC? This is the Holder from Belgium.
Yeah.
But the HRC, if you have a look on that bike over there, this has got the HRC setup.
Okay.
So you have a breather come out of the, that's a return into the generator cover.
Yeah.
And then you got your crankcase breather out the back of the engine into the standard Honda first catch bottle, and then you add the second one, and it all returns back down into the. Because what tends to happen is it blows the oil out. So what you want it to do is to condense. It comes out as vapor.
Yeah.
You want it to condense and then run back into the engine.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would just constantly you'd be blowing oil out constantly out of the breather.
Yeah.
So this is just an elaborate system. There's baffles in the, and it goes so everything drains back.
Right. So you're not losing the oil. You're just recycling it almost.
And there's all kinds of different kit variations. Some of them she ran the breather all the way around the headstock and back again to give it more chance to condense back into oil.
Okay, so the longer that pipe work, the more chance.
But everything had to go downhill to get all the way back into the engine again.
There's some plumbing that.
So it's very complicated, and it's very easy to make a mistake. And with this one, I've put springs on because when they get hot, if the pipes kink, then it starts blowing all its oil out the breather.
Of course, yeah.
But loads of old, racers have got stories of following the RC30s down the straights and getting oil all over their visors. And then obviously the wheels were on the road RC30. You got an 18-inch rear and a narrow 17-inch front. So the kit wheels were magnesium 17-inch rear and wider front.
Right.
So that was, and then because you put the 17-inch rear in, you need a ride height adjuster on the shock to lift the back end back up again.
Yeah.
There was a kit shock available. There were kit yokes available. It was almost endless the amount of stuff that you could, kit radiators.
Yeah. These radiators deeper, bigger.
Yeah. This is a kit radiator. So that's an HRC kit radiator. More rows, thicker.
Yeah.
Just give more cooling, and the same with the lower. That's a new replica lower kit rad.
Yeah.
So how much would we be talking for a kit
I think you're looking at about £1,900 for a pair of radiators now for an RC30.
Wow.
Pretty much everything you try and do with an RC30 is just expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you could buy a race bike for the cost of a pair of radiators.
You could buy a house for the price of a set of carburetors.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You could. That's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, this particular bike that we've been running last season's got the Bol'Dor rads, which is and a pressurised airbox with the flat slide carbs.
Yeah. And are these copies of the HRC kit
No,
stuff,
they've just gone their own way
right.
with the design.
Yeah.
You know, a bit more of a modern take on it.
Of course, yeah. And then the yokes you said, so these are completely different.
These are low profile. Again, they're made by De Holder in Belgium, who make a lot of they were the original Honda importer and race. They ran the race team in Belgium for a long time, and they make a lot of really trick parts like the rear subframes and the yokes and the fairing brackets and everything.
Yeah. So the benefit of this would be?
It just allows you more adjustment on the front end,
right.
And I think they're slightly stiffer.
Okay, yeah.
You know, because they clamp lower down.
Yeah, of course they do, yeah. They look trick as well, don't they?
Yeah.
They do, absolutely stunning. Power-wise, so you've gone through your kit manual.
Yeah,
spent all your kids' Christmas money.
Yeah, so if you put the pistons and the cams and trick carbs and get it set up well, you're probably looking at about a 30 horsepower increase over the standard road bike.
So sort of 100 horsepower.
So you're looking at about 130 at the back wheel.
Right.
You know, for a good.
But the cost to get to that is.
Phenomenal. I mean, it's depending on how you do it. You know, it's can be very expensive.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But I think the cost of the race bikes now are starting to match some of the road bikes.
Is that because of their rarity? Because you've got these kit parts on? Or?
Yeah, I think the kit parts are getting hard to find now. Anybody who remakes anything is horrendously expensive.
Yeah.
Honda have brought out this refresh program of supplying. They're remaking some of the RC30 parts for the road bikes.
Oh, really?
And they're horrendous cost.
What sort of stuff, like consumable parts? Or?
Yeah, I mean, look, you might have to look it up a bit and see exactly, but they've been making. They do full sets of bodywork, and they do.
Do they?
But it's. I think it's something like £15,000 or £18,000 for a fairing. You know, I mean, and it's Japanese market only, so it's only the JDM. So it comes with a little headlight.
With the smaller headlights.
So you couldn't even use it on a UK bike.
Oh no! Right.
But I've heard stories of the cost of everything just seems to be horrendous. But they're selling. You know, they're making parts and people are buying them. Right. Because people have got original bikes. It's supposed to be Japan only, but I think if you know somebody in Japan, you can order stuff for this country. Some stuff has been filtering through.
Okay. But so if you took a standard road-going RC30, which was ahead of its time anyway, no point racing that. It has to have
straight away you can't even fit race tyres on it.
Because of the wheel size.
So you need the wheels straight away.
Yeah.
So you've got to change the wheels.
Then you need the shock.
You know, we use Dymax.
Yeah.
Then it's just a ride height adjuster. It's just a little bit goes on the top of the shock.
Yeah.
So it's just an extra long yoke.
Okay,
it's that little piece there,
yeah.
And that's adjustable so that you can set your ride height.
Yeah.
You need an exhaust. Obviously, kit exhaust was the other thing that you could buy.
So a fair bit of restriction in the sort of your standard.
Standard exhaust. Obviously, really quiet, really heavy.
Yeah.
You know, really heavy. A lot of the if you put the deep sump and the race exhaust on, you can't fit the standard bodywork anymore.
So it has to then.
So you have to then have race bodywork.
Forks pretty much.
Forks pretty much standard. I mean, these particular ones have got K-Tech. We've got some, those ones are Maxton. Mm-hmm. So we do get them revalved.
Yeah.
But we have run the standard ones. The Howard Lee's bikes ran the standard forks, and they handle just as well, really.
Because they're quite trick, aren't they? Straight up, from the off, they were.
The RC30 was designed so you could change the wheel without taking the calipers off, so the fork legs spin. In the mudguard stays where it is, so you you undo the clamps, drop the wheel out, the wheel drops down out of the calipers, and then the fork legs spin round, so you can take the wheel out and put the wheel back in.
Oh, brilliant!
Which is why it had a narrow front wheel.
And so by putting that wider front wheel on, did that affect that?
You can't quick change it so easy. On the Howard Lee's ones, we managed it. We put slightly smaller discs on, and we used the AP calipers.
Okay.
So we could change, but on these ones we've got the 320mm Brembos.
Yep.
So we can't quick change the wheel the way Honda designed it.
Yeah.
Most of our endurance races are 4 hours, and we don't need to change unless we have to change for wets.
Of course.
So in a normal race, we don't need to change during the race.
Yeah. What's the benefit of putting the 120 on opposed to the one? Is that just
tyres?
Just the better tyres?
There's no tyres available in 110.
Right.
And it'll probably handle better with the wider front.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, the rear has got the single nut.
Yeah.
So real quick rear wheel change. So sometimes in a 4-hour we will have to change the rear.
And that's just gunned off.
That's just one nut.
Yeah.
This one's got the kit axle, which is a different size nut, and it's left-hand thread.
Oh.
So it's 56mm left-hand thread, much lighter.
Yeah.
Stub axle.
Superb.
So it's another kit part.
And Dymags, they lighter than the HRC kit stuff?
No, I think the HRC kit wheels are magnesium, probably a similar weight, but really hard to find.
Yeah.
And these are actually the RC45 Dymags, 6-inch RC45.
Just straight fitment, no issues.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you need to space them. Sometimes you might need to cut the side of the tyre. It just depends what tyres you're running. We run a 180 maximum.
Yeah.
And it's not too bad. Some of them can get a little bit close.
A little bit tight. Yeah.
We have, when we used to run the Pirellis, we used to have to cut about 5mm off one side of the tyre to clear the chain.
Yeah, because there's not much left there,
no.
Is there? There's not much.
It tends to vary from bike to bike.
Does it?
Yeah. You know,
is that because of their hand-built nature, or is it just because...
You know, a lot of people space the wheel over and it doesn't affect the handling at all.
Right.
And there's been a load of... I noticed a thing on the internet where somebody was saying, oh, I'm not going to space mine out. You can't have the wheels out of line. That would totally... And one of the guys from the RC30 Owners Club got 6 bikes and he measured the wheel alignment out of 6 RC30s and they were all different from the factory. So you might actually be correcting it by adding a spacer, you know what I mean? But actually, I think it's been proven time and time again, it doesn't affect the handling whatsoever, as long as it's still, as long as you're not twisting it, straight. You can space it out. I mean, we haven't had to space any of ours, but you can buy spacers that go in underneath the wheel.
Well, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Because you think with Honda, you think that would be something that was bang on.
But I guess it's just the tolerances. They're always in line.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily always the same offset.
Fabulous, isn't it? That's a mad story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Love it.
And, you know, we've upgraded to the Brembo, like I say, 320mm floating discs and, you know, pretty much the Ducati 916 kind of setup.
Yeah,
it gives us fantastic brake. I know they're very close.
There's not much clearance there, is there?
You can see they're actually slightly rubbing sometimes. But yeah, there's not much clearance at all.
There's not much, is there? And is that because of there was more clearance on the standard one, I take it, or is that just how they are?
Yeah, I mean that's how they came. Perfect? You know, these are made by Brembo for the RC30. You know, the Brembo disc carriers and the Brembo adapter plates. You know, so it's all Brembo kit. So they've obviously designed it to be
as tight as that. Yeah. Well, it only needs to be tight, I suppose, doesn't it? If it's wrong.
Obviously, on the standard bike, you have an airbox on top of the carbs, so the fuel tank goes over the airbox. So for endurance racing, you tend to add, the easiest way to add more capacity is to fill in the area where the airbox would normally go. Yep. So that gives you about another 2 to 3 litres.
Yeah.
So it probably takes it up to about 22, 23 litres.
Yeah. And what about this one then, Ian? So this one's got, I noticed this shape to the...
This tank was made by Spondon back in the day.
Yeah.
And they've added a bit of extra height and width. You can see it comes out a bit more.
Yeah, oh, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
This gives you a good 24 litres, which is the maximum allowed for endurance rules. Yeah. So we can run over an hour on 24 litres. So it gives you a massive advantage. Most of the ZXR 750s and that can only run about 40 minutes.
So you're getting an extra 20 minutes.
Run an hour. Yeah. So in a 4-hour race, we've only got to do 3 stops
instead of 4.
Yeah. So it gives you a big advantage.
Massive advantage, aren't it?
Well, how long's a pit stop?
Exactly, especially on some of the tracks. You know, it's at least a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Right. Yeah. You can win a race by, and you have to win it by a second, don't you? You know, so it's.
Of course, for endurance, we have to run lights for the night racing.
Yeah.
And I managed to fit some electro-luminescent numbers on these so that you've got a nice blue number 8 at night and then just a single headlight.
Silhouette-wise, are they in the rules? Do they have to, you know?
I think the bike is supposed to look like the model, depending on which. There's a lot of different rules in Europe and a lot of different. The Bol'Dor, which we tend to favour, up until now we've always done the Bol'Dor, as well as maybe some of the other races, is standalone rules and regulations. But there's a European Championship. They're doing 4 rounds next year, and you know we're actually thinking about doing all 4 rounds.
Okay.
Trying to have a go at the European Championship because it's a proper FIM accredited European Championship. So we're thinking there's going to be 1 round at Donington, either in April or October, hasn't been decided yet. And then it's Paul Ricard in May, and Navarra in Spain, you know, the new MSV circuit, in June, and Po down near Biarritz in July. So,
what a wonderful championship that sounds.
But the rules there are slightly different to the Bol'Dor, so there's different classes. There's about 5 different classes now in the European Championship because they've allowed the GSXR 1000 K1s,
really?
like Aprilia Millets and 996s and stuff.
Oh, my word.
We feel old, doesn't it?
You know, we wouldn't be racing in the same class. We'd be racing against them on the track, but not in the same class.
No, of course,
So we're going to enter in the Formula 750 class.
So what would you be up against there then? Should have your
ZXRs?
ZXRs,
yeah, but not YZFs. So I think the cut-off is 92.
Is that when YZF came?
94 was it?
94,
yeah. So FZRs.
So FZRs. Although you don't see many of those, it's mostly ZXRs, really, to be honest. They're the sort of weapon of choice.
Right. How would she compete against the ZXR then? In that?
You do get the OWO ones, actually, as well.
Yeah.
There's a couple of teams that run the OWO ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's in a straight line drag race, the ZXR's faster. But in an endurance situation, we tend to hold our own against them. It just depends, you know, it depends so much on what they've put into their motors and their chassis and their riders, and as we proved with Casey, you know, you can go 6 seconds a lap quicker just by having a super quick rider.
Yeah, of course,
Okay, he's probably one of the best riders in the world at the moment, but you know, there's a lot. It depends on a lot of things.
Of course it does. Yeah. Be nice to get him back on it for a 4-round championship and bring back a.
It would. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. I can't believe, you know, that's been a bit of an eye-opener for me. How different. You'd think, you can buy an RC30 and go racing because it's they built it to go racing. However, you're not, are you? You're not getting anywhere close unless
the worst thing you could probably start with is a standard road bike.
Because
you've got so much to change,
and
you've got so much. You know, the only good thing is you could probably sell off all of the standard stuff for a fortune. But what a shame, you know, you've got a standard bike. You know, you're much better off getting an old knackered old race bike and just like fixing.
Are there many of them about?
Well, they're around, but. You know, not the kind of thing anybody ever gets rid of, is it? So probably almost everyone, apart from mine that's snapped in two, almost everyone that's made is still going to be out there, isn't it? Because
of course, So
you know, who's going to scrap an RC30? You know, you're just going to stick it in the back of your garage, aren't you? And a lot of them are coming out. You know, you do now that they've started to be racing. But the trouble is because the value's shot up. You have to pay so much to get one, and people with bikes that haven't been used for 30 years. Are still thinking that you can just run it, you know. It needs a complete rebuild, probably.
Yeah, of course, So if you wanted to go racing one of these now,
the best thing to do is to buy a proven race bike, isn't it? One that's already been done.
Yeah.
You know that you know, or you know.
Yeah, because it'd be like you said, it'd be criminal then to pull apart a nice road bike, and even if you did,
they're rarer than the race bikes. I think.
Yeah.
You know, so many were raced.
Yeah. But you'd still be a million miles away from where you needed to be anyway, wouldn't you? Because, you know, they've not got...
But race bikes do come up for sale. You know.
So how many were made then? Because I know the homologation sort of...
We thought somewhere between about 4,500.
No good asking me,
But I was wondering to know how many of them, we say, were race bikes and how many of them were still on road trim, like, I wonder,
Like I say, there was a stage where race bikes were getting put back to road bikes to increase their value.
Yeah.
So they were getting made to look like road bikes, so you wouldn't even know.
Right.
Whether it used to be a race bike or not.
And would you? So some of the giveaways there, then, if you were looking at that, Would you be looking for some of the stuff that's on this, that, or
Yeah,
are they putting standard stuff back on?
I mean, nobody would have put a deep sump or a magnesium clutch cover on a road bike.
No,
necessarily, and the kit rads and you know, all that sort of stuff.
So your dipsticks.
But usually it's like lock wiring and stuff like that, isn't it? It's the classic
yeah,
stuff.
that's the classic stuff, isn't it? But like on these,
dents in the frame and
yeah. Maybe a few more telltales on these, isn't there? Because of the fact that they need so much more kit.
You know, the breather system and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And there you have it, the Honda VFR RC30, a true legend of two wheels. Any thoughts on what bikes we should cover next? Let us know in the comments below.